Dome as we get you set for the Syracuse football spring game. Kicking off, yes, kicking off. We've got live football tonight at the Dome in just a matter of moments. And in the spring, it is hope season. It's time to get excited. And Syracuse fans are excited about the offense. They've got a new regime in town. Robert and I and Jason Beck come to Central New York from Charlottesville, Virginia, 6 years at UVA. Last year, third in the nation in total offense were the Cavaliers. They're going to open up this offense.
Yeah, you know, you said it's going to open up this offense because they're going to spread the ball around a little bit. They can no longer be one-dimensional. Yes, they have a great back in Tucker, but you have to get the ball out to these receivers. These guys are pretty fast, and you got to use that strength, use it as a strength going into the season.
It was a run-heavy scheme for the Orange last year, pass-heavy for the Who's. We'll see how they blend the scheme with the personnel. No doubt who's at the top of the lineup. At the quarterback position, it is QB1 Garrett Shrader in a new number this year. He goes from 16 to 6. He's still atop this depth chart.
Yes, I mean, he's multifaceted because he can throw the ball, but he's been running a lot last year. He's got to turn around and see if he can be accurate, going out to make sure he's hitting his receivers so he can take a defender out of the box so they can run the ball.
Yeah, the rush yards and touchdowns on your screen, both second most ever for a Syracuse quarterback. We expect him to throw it a little bit more in 2022. He's got a pretty good guy to his right or to his left in Sean Tucker, who last season set the program record with almost 1,500 rush yards in one season. He's another guy who could take another step this year, which is scary for the rest of the ACC.
Absolutely, and it's hard not to showcase him. When you have a back like that, you tend to want to go to him, but the ACC is too good right now to just be one-dimensional. He has to open it up by throwing the ball, which will allow Tucker to be a better running back, and plus he has some guys behind him that can play a little bit also. They'll get the opportunity to come in and spell him a little bit and really open up this offense.
And calling the plays this year for the first season at Syracuse is Robert and I. We spoke with the OC this week. Well, glad to be joined now by first-year Syracuse offensive coordinator. Welcome to Syracuse, Robert Anae. Coach, how are we doing?
Doing really good, really good.
So, Coach, for those who don't know, 6 years at Virginia, you guys were a top 5 total offense last year. What can Syracuse fans expect from your offense?
Well, there's probably going to be a unique change, but some things still the same. You know, we have some really good pieces that were already here and plan to utilize them, mainly Sean Tucker.
Can't blame you for that. So Sean Tucker is a great place to start. Set the Syracuse rushing record last season. How can you unlock a new level for Sean Tucker?
Well, we hope, first of all, to take care of what we do well and let that be our starting point. So, yes, run the football. And at the same time, I do think we've got to be able to threaten down the field with explosive plays. So to add both of those things is what we hope to do. And points being the key motive for that.
That's right. Yeah, you guys were pretty pass happy at UVA last year. Brennan Armstrong over 400 passing yards a game. How do you kind of blend that pass happy scheme with your personnel at Syracuse where you got Tucker and Shrader who can run it?
Well, the only time you're happy with passes is when you complete them. So, yeah, we look to be pass happy and at the same time merge that with what our guys can do and what our guys are good at. So that's the task.
How can Garrett Shrader take that next step as a passer?
We've got to develop there. We've got to practice there. And, you know, those pieces together, the chemistry, we're looking to grow that. So we've started spring and more than halfway through in that regard. And I'm very pleased with the progress we're making.
You've coached some pretty big-name quarterbacks, Taysom Hill, Tanner Mangum at BYU, Armstrong at UVA, and a couple pros, too, in Perkins and Bankert. What do you see from Shrader that might be similar or different to those guys?
You know, you left out the guys I played with.
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, I've been fortunate to be around some really good quarterbacks. I think what Garrett brings to the mix is he's very confident. Mm-hmm. And when things break down, he's very instinctual. So that's what I'm very well pleased with, is his ability to create on the run and being instinctive. So he has shown that this spring.
We're excited to see the receiving corps Friday night because we don't really know who's going to be at the top of that depth chart. Who stood out to you in the spring?
You know, we're still in the process of that. Lots of guys that are returning have done well, like Courtney Jackson, him and Coop, Devon, they've done a really good job. Trevor Pena's done a really good job in that regard. But Isaiah Jones probably, I think right now, holds the record for spring.
All right.
So he's done a really good job. So we're excited, Damien. We're excited about all of them, really, and the progress they're making.
Well, we're excited to see what the offense looks like on Friday and this fall. Thanks, Robert.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Good to talk with the new OC, Robert and I, here at Syracuse. And by the way, if you're wondering who he played with, he was an offensive lineman at BYU, protected for guys named Jim McMahon and Steve Young.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Not
those
bad
guys,
company.
yeah.
So he knows a thing or two about quarterback play, but it's weird to say a guy in his third year at Syracuse is the wily veteran, but that's what, on the other side, Tony White is for Syracuse, the defensive coordinator. Last year, best defense for the Orange in a decade. They were 19th in the country in total defense. It's a 3-3-5 scheme, kind of throws opponents off a little bit, right?
Yeah, you don't know who's coming. And the spearhead on this team will probably be their linebackers. You got Jones, you got Wax, you got Thompson. They're the guys who are going to get this whole team going. They're like the guys who are going to be inspirational to getting this team going in the right direction. Watch their effort. Watch how they run around. Watch how they make plays. That's going to be infectious to everybody else on this team. So where these linebackers go, that defense goes, and where that defense goes can really help the offense out.
And Barrett, as a former offensive lineman yourself, I mean, that's got to be a nightmare to try to block against, right? Those linebackers who are knifing in there, the backfield.
Because you don't know where they're coming from. With the 3-3 scheme, the way they run it, the defensive lineman go one way, and then they turn around, that linebacker comes and picks a guy, and all of a sudden, offensive lineman doesn't know where he's going, and now you get a sack. So those guys are very good.
It's kind of an old-fashioned defense built around the linebackers. Those are the three guys who started the majority of last year: Mikel Jones, Stephon Thompson, and Marlowe Wax. The three guys in front of them, though, on the defensive line, all new starters after Syracuse graduated. The three guys in front of them. Could that affect the linebackers this year?
They got to know their job. They got to be studs up front and allow those linebackers to run scot-free. They got to put their hands on offensive linemen, keep them from getting them up on the second level. And when they do blitz, sometimes they're going to come free because everybody's going to be looking at those linebackers to make plays. That's when they turn around and use their athleticism to get to the quarterback.
And the cornerbacks are returning, Garrett Williams and Deuce Chestnut. Tony White's got some dudes on this defense, and he's always fun to chat with. Here's the defensive coordinator. All right, Tony White, defensive coordinator for Syracuse this year. Year 3 at the helm of this defense. Tony, how's spring practice been?
Spring practice has been going well. We've been flying around, very physical. It's one of the more physical ones I've been around. But you want to see that. You got a lot of depth. You got a lot of veterans back there. You got a lot of guys who need the reps. So it's been good so far. No injuries. So it's been good.
I know in the spring a huge emphasis is keeping guys healthy. Probably not as much hitting as you'd want as a defensive guy, right? What's it like in the spring as a defensive coordinator?
You know what? I like to be low maintenance. You know what? I like to just my answer always, you can ask Coach Babers, is always, hey, whatever the offense wants. Because in real talk, we as a defensive guy, we have to defend whatever the offense does. So I'm like, hey, whatever the offense wants, whatever Coach and I wants, hey, let's roll. I'm good.
Yeah, we'll talk about that offense in a second because I'm curious your perspective on the new scheme. But we'll start with your unit here. Such success last year. What are the points of emphasis this year?
Well, I think that number one, it's obvious, right? The D-line. You had so many veteran guys. You leave. You got so much talent that's in the room. It's just it hasn't been put on display yet, And so, I think number one, from a coaching standpoint, it's making sure that we've installed things easy enough so that those guys can learn it and be able to execute it on the grass and not think too much, because the last thing you need out there is a inexperienced defensive lineman who's thinking. That's trouble. So the whole offseason has been spent to how we can refine things, how we can teach things better for those guys to absorb it and play fast. And those guys have done a nice job. And then obviously the veteran guys coming back, you want to make sure that those guys are performing the way they're supposed to be performing. Sometimes it takes a pat on the back, and sometimes I got to poke the bear. Those guys don't like it. When I come at them sideways. But those guys are some of the best in the ACC, some of the best defenders I think in America. So I'm going to hold them to that standard, and we're going to roll. Mikel
Jones comes to mind when you talk about some of the best defenders in America. Is he a guy that when you poke him, the bear comes out of him?
It's funny that you say that because I just poked him yesterday. You know, he did something that you know that was not MJ-ish, and so you know I let him know, but he knew right away, and the good ones know. You know, the good ones know when, hey, I messed that one up, and I tell you what, we're lucky. We're lucky to have him. We're lucky that he came back, and he's shown how much he's ready to go out there and take the helm again and try to lead this defense to another good year.
So the household names we know, but if a Syracuse fan is maybe out with their friends, trying to impress their friends, say, hey, look out for this guy, give us a name to watch out for this fall.
Man, I say obviously Agent Zero. I just saw that. He changed his number, so now we want to call him Sub-Zero. I said, I'm not calling you anything until you get a first pick in the new season. So, but Deuce, I mean, you know, Deuce comes to mind. Garrett Williams. I mean, those two guys, when you play out on an island and having coached in the secondary, you know, most the casual fan doesn't really see that how many mistakes are made up front, and they're made up for it with pursuit and all that other stuff. When you mess up on the outsides, guess what? You on ESPN for the wrong reasons, you know. Yep. So I really am pumping up Deuce and Garrett on the outsides. I think they're some of the best in the ACC, if not the country. Basically, you know, they certainly can be up there. And then I like our linebackers. I like where they're at. You know, I like not only MJ, but Stephon Thompson and Marlowe Wax. I think those guys are versatile. I think those guys, the chemistry is great in the room. Those guys play for each other, and you know, no matter what I say, they perform on the grass, and that's the most important thing for football players. They got to perform on the grass. So I like where those guys are. And then, like I said, defensive line, we've got a lot of talent up there. I think the first name that I've been saying consistently for the last couple years that I truly believe that it's his time is Stephen Linton. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a guy who, he's 6'5", 220 pounds. He can run, he can jump, he can do it all. And I think it's his time to go out there and perform. So we'll see. And
last thing, from your perspective on defense, what's different about the offense? What impresses you about that side?
I'll tell you what, they are a well-oiled machine. And on defense, you look to see how organized. Does a quarterback know where he's going with the ball? And when that first read and progression is not there, does he know what to do with it? And that's a glaring change. You can see right now that they know where they want to go with the ball. They know how they want to attack you, and obviously building off the run game and seeing all the great things. Coach Schmidt, I've been around him since we beat him 70-7 when he was a player. Don't tell him that, though. 77.
I'm sure you've told him that.
Every day. Yeah, every day I've told him. Every day. But, it's fun to watch Coach Schmidt grow in this profession and seeing how successful he's been. And he comes over here, and the things he did last year with the run game and tuck and all that stuff. So I tell you what, man, I having to defend it, it's a unique deal, and it'll be fun to watch. I mean, if you don't have your season tickets, you better get them.
That's Tony White, whose Syracuse defense was phenomenal last year, and you love those linebackers, Barrett. Those are some dogs.
Yes, they can run. They can play sideline to sideline. They're aggressive. They're going to set the tempo for this team.
It is a three-phase game. We're going to talk about special teams a little bit afterward. And we've got a scrimmage. We've got live contact football here at the Carrier Dome coming up in just a matter of moments. Kickoff is right after this. Welcome back to the Loud House, where the Syracuse football spring game is moments away from kicking off. Year 7 for Dino Babers. And for the first time in program history, the SU football spring game is on your television. Here's how it's going to go down. Now, stick with us here. It's orange versus blue. But the starters are going to be playing against the starters. So the first team is the blue team, but the first team offense will be playing against the first team defense. So keep in mind what you see at the bottom of your screen there. Jersey colors do not necessarily reflect the teams. We've got a kickoff, and we've got football. No return there as Trevor Pena will take it there. And the blue team and the first team offense will come out. Now, no Garrett Shrader tonight for Syracuse. Pulled a hamstring in practice last week. Nothing major. If this were a real game, he'd be out there leading this offense. But as a precautionary measure, Schrader's not going to be out there tonight. We're looking at him right now. He is suited up. But instead, it's Justin Lamson at the helm of this first team offense.
Yeah, you don't want to have him go out there. You want to make sure he's healthy. And at this point, it's not something that you're going to really worry about to happen, you know, leading into next year. He's just strained a little bit. They're just erring on the side of caution and not playing him today.
So it's the redshirt freshman out of El Dorado Hills, Justin Lamson, who starts things off with a completed pass to Anthony Quealy, number 14.
Yeah, I mean, started off, ball in the air, and they're going to be slinging a little bit. Spread this defense out just to see if they can cover. You're not going to see the exotic blitzes or anything out of this defense because that's what they do. It's going to be pretty vanilla, but, hey, you got your first-team athletes playing against the first-team offense athletes. You know, it's going to be tough for those guys up front to really not get the blunt of all this stuff going on out there.
Lamson starts 2 for 2. That's a completion to 8'5" Courtney Jackson. So, Barrett, we've talked a lot about the receiver core. We don't really know who's going to be at the top of the depth chart. So far, it's Quealy and Jackson who make catches on the Syracuse first-team offense.
They're displaying speed already in this game. You know, guys are running, and if you turn around and look at it, these wide receivers are big, they're quick, and they think they understand this new and age offense. They're going out and execute.
You got to think these guys are licking their chops considering what some guys at Virginia did last year under this offensive regime. That pass from Lamson is incomplete. But, I mean, this is really the unit with the starters that we were fascinated to see. Because we've seen the Tony White defense the last 2 years in Syracuse, and the returns have been awesome for the Orange. But this is a Virginia offense coming over from Charlottesville that was 3rd in the nation last year in total offense, 2nd in passing yards per game. And for Syracuse, Barrett, they didn't really throw it a whole lot last year. It was a run-first team.
Yeah, they were kind of one-dimensional. And when Coach asked Coach O'Neill to come here, he understood that he had to maximize these guys in the passing game because they ran so much. You can't be one-dimensional and think that you can go out and really be successful in the ACC. You have to make sure that you can make things happen from a passing standpoint to loosen up the defense a little bit. Then Tucker can go out there and run the rock once you take that safety out with these receivers.
So if you're just joining us, it's the orange and blue game. It is a live football game. You can see at the bottom of your screen. We're keeping score tonight at the Carrier Dome. We've got first-team offense against first-team defense. Justin Lamson, the second-string quarterback, in there for Garrett Shrader, who's out as a precautionary measure with a sore hamstring, is running the show for this first-team offense under a new coordinator in Robert Anae.
You know, that was a quarterback run, a called quarterback run for the quarterback. You don't usually see that, you know, especially in the spring game. And I love the fact that Coach, you know, Baber is allowing them to go full speed. They're not just thud. Thud means it's almost like your two-hand touch. They are tackling to the ground. He wants that physicality, and he's letting these guys go out there and play.
That pass incomplete, trying to find Amari Hatcher, redshirt freshman out of Woodbridge, Virginia. It's a little different from when you played spring games back at K-State, right, bro?
Oh, way different. You know, I mean, it's different in the aspect that our spring games were usually around 3 hours. And Coach Snyder had us out there for a long time. But, hey, I love the fact that these guys are going out and they're playing hard. They're playing physical. You can see the physicalness at the offensive line and the defensive line. The trenches is trench warfare going on.
Here's Lamson on a design run. Looking like QB1 Garrett Shrader. He can run it a little bit.
Outside zone. Outside zone. You got the offensive guards and tackles getting out there on the edge and seeing if they can get a little running room for the quarterback. That's kind of why you don't see the starting quarterback out there right now. Because, you know, these guys are being physical, and you didn't want him to tweak it a little bit. He probably could have played today, but why chance it?
Right, no Sean Tucker today. Another guy who Dino says is just too valuable. We won't see Chris Elmore, the hybrid 6-year senior, who we're going to hear from at halftime, and we won't see Matthew Bergeron, either the offensive lineman. Lamson lost it. It's a real game, folks. The quarterback gets sacked.
Yeah, you know, guys up front, you know, I mean, those are the mistakes that really hampered Syracuse's success last year. And, you know, Coach Baber, he doesn't like that. He wants these guys to be polished. They've been in spring football for the past month. They've given an opportunity to go out there and really show who they are. And when you make mistakes like that, it tends to get you off the field and then, you know, cuts down on that playing time. These guys are playing for a chance to play during the season. That's what's going on. If they don't go out there and perform in this game, there's a possibility that it's going to be hard for them to go out there and try to win a position during camp next year.
James Williams out to kick it away after the sack from Francois Nolton. Trevor Pena, the starting kick returner and punt returner, lets it bounce. And we'll get our first look at the second team offense as they rotate possessions here in the orange and blue game. You talked about that offensive line, Barrett. I mean, you're a former offensive lineman yourself. Last year, Syracuse, we don't really know how good the O-line could have been because there's just no continuity. They had 8 different combinations along that starting 5 during the season.
Yeah, but you know, the left tackle, Matthew Bergeron, he was always a mainstay out there. And talk about a guy that can play at the next level. This kid is pretty good. He has the feet, the technique, has a little nastiness to him also.
And running the show for the second team, Dan Villari, the transfer from Michigan. The give is to Jawan Price, redshirt sophomore out of Arizona.
Now, you know, I think they changed it up on us. This is actually the starting defense right here. If you look, this is the starting defense. You have all the guys out there that are slated to be starters. So they're going to second team offense against the first team defense out on the field at this point.
Good call, Barrett. This is the defense that turned some heads for the Cuse last year, ranking top 20 in the country in total defense.
Garrett Williams, one of the better corners on this team.
I see number 0 on the other side, Deuce Chestnut.
Deuce Chestnut has a lot to live up to.
He calls himself Sub-Zero now.
Sub-Zero. You got to go out there. If you anoint yourself your own name, that means you have to go out there and play up to that capability.
There's Villari showing off the mobility. Almost had it picked off.
That's Thompson.
Stephon Thompson in there nearly had an interception.
This is exactly what this defense is going to be made of. Now, it's going to be pretty vanilla on what this defense is doing. They're not going to show anything that they can, you know, really look at from the standpoint of you know, what their first opponent's going to be during the season. But I tell you what, look at the speed, look at the tracking ability that Thompson displayed right there. He was in the middle of the field and able to read the quarterback's eyes and go out and make a play on the ball. It probably would have been 6. Yeah. And those are the type of plays you need during the season, you know, to help this offense out.
3rd and 9 for Villari, the transfer from the Wolverines. He's got a little wiggle in his game.
Yes, he does. He showed a little wiggle on that, and then you saw the missed tackle. They've got to clear that up. They can't afford to have these missed tackles. When you see this, you got to go up and make a play. That missed tackle right there is the difference between the offense being able to convert on the first down and not convert on the first down. So they definitely need to work on their tackling. I can remember the Pitt game last year. Too many missed tackles by the Syracuse defense.
Sets up Maximilian Van Marburg to punt. The freshman out of Wagga Wagga in Australia. Courtney Jackson is back deep for the faux return. Right on top of the block S.
I tell you what, Jackson has to go out there and show that he is one of the better return guys also.
So it's all defense to start in the spring game. First team offense back on the field when we return. We are back at the Carradome, Syracuse's spring game, and now we're glad to be joined by QB1 Garrett Shrader, coming back for year 2 as a starter of this offense. Garrett, you're suited up, not playing tonight. How you feeling?
Feel great. You know, we're really excited, and we're going to get to see what those young guys do today, going live, and get a little glimpse of the new offense. But we are excited for what we're doing, and we've come a long way already.
Well, I can see at this point, you know, you were a little one-dimensional last year because that was your strength. You guys ran the ball. You, Tucker, had a lot of success. Now you open it up a little bit. What type of phase does it bring to you now, you know, as far as opening it up?
You know, the big focus is we've always been strong down the middle, you know, offensive line, and we got a great back. So being able to complement that's the biggest thing. And I think, you know, Coach Beck and Coach Anai, it's the biggest thing they bring. They bring that scheme, and, you know, we're really excited. We've come a long way already. We got a long way to go.
So, Garrett, when you saw the new offensive guys coming over from Virginia, do you check out the stats that offense put up last year? Over 400 yards a game for Brennan Armstrong. What did you think when you first heard the news?
I was really excited, and, you know, we have a lot more tools, we feel like, than they did there, but they put up numbers, and they've done it all throughout their career in different ways with different guys and different ways of doing it. But we're excited, and we like what we got, and we like where we're going.
You know, of course, I'm a former offensive lineman, but how is your offensive line adapting to more passing? I mean, it's going to take that safety out. You can go out there and hose it a little bit, throw the ball a little bit, takes that safety out, makes you, better run playing team, man.
We've definitely been controlling an extra guy with the pass game, but Coach Smith gets those guys right, and they've been blocking their butts off. So,
how are you different this year as a quarterback?
Just learning, and I got the same skill sets, but I feel like we've been throwing the ball, completing the ball down the field. That's the biggest thing.
I love it, man. You got weapons out there. You got Jackson, You're going to spread the ball out a little bit, man. With the type of receivers that you have, how much confidence you guys have in them going down the field a little more?
Oh, absolutely. And the guy's been here. That's the biggest thing. The talent's always been on this roster. And we brought some new – there's going to be some young guys stepping up, but we're really excited for what we got.
Well, Garrett, as we were talking, deep ball from the second guy on the depth chart right behind you, Justin Lamson, with the touchdown pass to Amari Hatcher. We're looking up at the Jumbotron. We'll see if we can break this down for us.
Oh, they're not going to show it.
So it's that. All right, we have it right here. Run a little read option. That safety comes up. He gets guys peeking, and he goes over the top on that play. Caught the linebackers and the safety peeking on the outside, and he just threw it over the top of them. Oh, the double move.
Double move. Got him looking. That's routine right there. Good catch, good throw.
That could be huge for you guys, because you're not a one-trick pony now. When you can throw the ball and run the ball, it really puts defenses on their heels.
Get used to seeing that right there.
Yeah, that's what Syracuse fans want to hear. Garrett Shrader, QB1, thanks for doing this, man. Good luck this year.
Thank y'all.
Garrett enjoying watching Justin Lamson at the helm of this first-team offense. Garrett out, precautionary, a sore hamstring, and Lamson connects big time with Amari Hatcher. And that, way for this offense to get started here, Barrett.
And that's the different dimension of having a throwing quarterback and that can run the ball, because if you can run the ball successfully, it really makes those linebackers and safeties start peeking in the backfield. And all of a sudden, with the double move on the outside, and you have big receivers and quick receivers, it could be a lot of big plays for this Syracuse offense.
Yeah, I think Orange fans are daring to dream right now. Best of both worlds, right? With Shrader ran for 14 touchdowns last year. Tucker set the single-season program record in rushing. Think about how they can blend that with a Virginia offense that, again, Brennan Armstrong over 400 passing yards a game. If they could get the best of both worlds, this offense is going to be really scary for the rest of the ACC. At special teams, too, you see Andre Schmidt. He's back again. We saw Eric Dungy earlier on the field. We're going to talk with Eric Dungy later on in the show. When he saw Andre Schmidt, they played together in 2018. Andre Schmidt said, "I'm still here." Right. He's still here. And Syracuse fans are glad he is one of the best kickers in program history.
Understanding, that he can be definitely a guy that could turn the tables. They lost a lot of close games last year, and he was definitely a guy that can come in and really take them over the top.
So Jacobian Morgan is out there running the second-team offense against the first-team defense. Aronde Gadsden with the catch on the first play here. There's a lot of depth in this quarterback room. We're seeing Morgan right now. After Shrader, they've got three guys they feel pretty good about, with Lamson, who just hit on that deep touchdown, Valari, who we've seen already tonight, and now Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan has a big arm, real good athlete, and that's what this offense brings, their athleticism. If they can turn the corner and really throw when they're running this read option. And there's another, position that we haven't talked about a lot tonight, but the running backs they have a deep running back room. And you see the speed that they display. Here's the read option, the read the defensive end. The defensive end crashes, so he hands it off. And there's enough speed on the outside to turn the corner.
That's Jawan Price on the carry there for 13 yards. First down for the blue team offense. Morgan, the redshirt freshman out of Canton, Mississippi. They'll tuck it and run, and again, the quarterbacks are not exempt from contact tonight, brought down by a couple of Orange defenders.
Now, see, that's one facet of the quarterback game that they have to work on. They have to be more patient as quarterbacks when they're running a system like this, because you can't just take the one read. You got to go to maybe your second or third read to run this offense. And, you know, with Anai, he's got to teach those young guys that you can't just run automatically. Let the play get some progression, allow guys to get down the field, and those receivers might make some big plays if they're comfortable with sitting in the pocket and allowing the play to develop in front of them. Here, once again, too many missed tackles that hurt him last year. As I just said before, you know, the Pitt game, it was too much, way too many missed tackles.
Running back room depth flashed again. This time it's Devon Cooper, though, listed as a wide receiver, gets the call. And there's that versatility of this scheme. I mean, last year, Virginia had a guy named Keaton Thompson, and if folks at home don't know about him, he's listed as a football player on their roster.
Right.
Not running back or wide receiver, football player. Actually,
yeah,
he threw it a little bit, too, last year. So these guys are okay with getting creative with their personnel.
The more you can do, the more you can do. You know, when you have a guy that's multifaceted, like maybe a Cooper, he can do it all. He can run, he can catch. Given an opportunity, he'll probably pass it also.
It's empty set again for Morgan. Here we go with a little trickeration. LeQuint Allen, the true freshman, throws it back on the Philly special. Barrett Brooks to Jacoby and Morgan for the first down.
You know, this is how you go out and you open the offense up a little bit. It makes that defense look around and slows them down. You know, they're reading their keys, and once those keys start leaving, then you open up a big play. So, you know, Coach Anay, he's making sure that he keeps this defense on their heels. That's the versatility that comes with a coach that has some success throwing the ball and running trick plays like this.
Brother, I just assumed we weren't going to see anything from the offense tonight. They come out with a trick play in the spring game, though. That's fun. So Morgan, after making the catch, back to doing the traditional role as a quarterback, incomplete.
Yeah, but you know what? And it could also be used as a positive as far as, you know, when you know that Louisville is going to watch this tape. But they can use it as a positive because now they can turn around and say, all right, that's just one more thing that defense has to prepare for. So once you make them overload like that, it gives you the ability now to work on the stuff that you do best, and they'll be preparing for stuff that they won't even see. Here's Chestnut out wide.
Yeah, we're looking right at number 0.
Changed his number. He's actually from Camden, a Camden kid. In fact, I helped coach their team this year who won the state championship. Went to Woodrow Wilson.
Shout out Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
You get another ring that's as big as your Super Bowl ring for that
You know what? You know, I told them they can keep the ring. I already got one.
I broke my finger when we did a little fist pound earlier.
Very successful program down there at Woodrow Wilson.
And Deuce Chestnut is a real star for this Syracuse defense. Could be playing on Sundays one day.
Led the team in tackles. He's feeling comfortable about his play. Sub-0.
He was a runner-up for ACC Rookie of the Year on defense last year. It's 3rd down and long for Morgan. There he goes. Another guy who can tuck it and run. Right on top of that ACC logo, it'll be 4th down. Let's see if we see 91 here, Andre Schmidt, come out to kick the field goal.
They're keeping the offense out. See, the spring game is used to really highlight what you want to really run. I mean, it gives you an opportunity to run plays that you feel as though they're good for you, but can also, you know, see what you don't need to run. You know, if this doesn't work in the spring game, we need to throw that play away.
A little trial and error, maybe.
Right, right.
There's no play clock. They get off the snap on 4th down and 5. It's Morgan to run again, and he is blasted by Caleb Okechukwu on that starting 3 up front. Doesn't feel like a spring game down here, baby.
Oh, it is a spring game because they're hitting out there. That's a quarterback. You know, usually quarterbacks have the red jersey on. These guys are playing.
There's no thought here tonight. This is full speed.
I mean, you know, if you watch on that play, he actually dropped back into coverage and was still able to come up and make the hit on the blitzing quarterback, on the running quarterback. We call that green dog, and if you see linebacker falls back, but then he comes and rushes.
Let's send it over to Jalen.
You know, one of the things that Coach Babers said to us the other day, guys, was he wants to see what his QBs can do when the play isn't there. So that's something that he's also paying attention to while you're out here seeing all the QBs being able to scramble. It's not just Garrett Shrader that can use his legs.
That's right, Jalen. Justin Lamson is back out there now. Just hit on a big touchdown last time out. He might have another one here. Damian Alford, goodbye.
Whoa, You have a guy that goes out there, double moves, and that's the defense peeking. 75-yard touchdown, caught him peeking. As a DB, you got to stick to your tempo. On this play, the defense, that cornerback has to stay outside, and once the receiver goes vertical, he's got to stick with him. It turns into man. But he looked inside, stopped, which didn't allow that safety not to get over the top, and they score on it.
Alford's a deep threat. Last year we saw that a couple of times, and we see it here. Justin Lamson, last 2 passes, 2 touchdowns, and 2 bombs.
Well, Lamson's showing that, hey, I want to play. I mean, it might not be a true quarterback competition, but, hey, for the number 2 spot, he's starting to make the progression of starting to go in and be a solid number 2. It just gives you more of what you need as a head coach, knowing that you can rely on Lamson, and if he has to come in, he can get the job done. Got to play your technique.
Well, that sound you're hearing across central New York right now is fans getting pumped up and having some hope for this offense. New look under Robert and Jason Beck, and so far, so good in this spring game. Back-to-back bomb touchdowns for Justin Lamson, and it is year 1, and this is really our first glimpse of the new look offense. Last year, these guys put up huge numbers at Virginia. Robert and I spent 6 years at UVA. Before that, spent a long time at BYU. He is a Bronco Mendenhall guy. When Mendenhall stepped down from Virginia, these guys were on the open market. Pretty easy decision for Dino Babers to give him a call, and they got him up here to the Dome.
Well, that's what he said. I just gave him a call, and he said yes.
I asked him, I was hoping for a good story. He said, I called him.
Right.
He said yes.
I called him.
Dan Villari is back out there. Second-team offense against first-team defense for the Cuse.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Price with a carry.
Yes, I mean, and you know, you look at the trenches, you know, the offensive line and defensive line. These guys are playing, they're battling. And this is how you develop a lot of your depth on the offensive line and defensive line. These guys are hitting each other, they're drive blocking, they're finishing plays. This is how you build the toughness as a team. When the trenches, they're battling there, it's infectious. It goes to the rest of the team.
When we were talking with Dino yesterday, Barrett, Jalen asked him, what's your #1 priority in the spring? He said physicality. And we're seeing a little bit of that tonight in the spring game as that pass is picked off. The Syracuse first-team defense comes up large. Jihad Carter with the interception.
Great read. He was able to undercut the drag route going across the field. Great play. Watch him undercut the route, going across the drag route. He undercuts it, goes out. Great athlete. Makes the play.
Welcome back to Syracuse. I'm here with running back Sean Tucker. Now, Sean, we're not going to see you tonight, but we have a lot that we can talk about from last season. You broke a single-season rushing record here. You were running back at the ACC of the week 3 times. What is the new goal for this season?
I say I definitely have a couple goals. Try to break my rushing record last year, and definitely get in a Heisman race.
Now, I talked to Chris Elmore the other day, and he said that he is challenging you to break the record, but not only break it, maybe add another 1,000 if you can. And he said he wants to see you in New York for that Heisman race. What are you thinking with this new coaching staff and this youth scheme is going to help you get there?
Definitely with the new coaching staff and the scheme, you know, I think we can definitely work on all my areas of my game, definitely get more passing in, and doing even better on my run game.
Is there a specific part in spring that you wanted to work on as far as to get you to that next level, or you think there's an interception, as I say that, I think? But a certain part of your game that you wanted to work on to get you to that next level?
It was definitely, for me, my number one thing is, blocking. I definitely feel like I definitely need to enhance that and work on that skill. And just, practicing my catching every day, trying to get better and catch more reps and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, other than your play on the field, something that Syracuse fans and people across the country were waiting for were those post-game tweets. And last year you told me that you started those in high school, so where did that come from?
It just came from high school. I think it was my 10th or 11th grade year. I just made like another social media platform to put out my stats and stuff about me. And, the fans liked it, so I just continued it until here.
And it's been a running joke that everybody loves, but I take them very seriously. So I'm excited to see more of them next season. And good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jalen. We are pleased with the performance from Sean Tucker in that interview. And the guy who might need to send some post-game tweets is LeQuint Allen. You saw number 20, the freshman running back, rip off a big touchdown run there. The freshman out of Millville, New Jersey, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state last season. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, I've lived down in that area. I live in South Jersey, and his name has been everywhere as far as coming in and really making an impact, whatever team he was going to go to when he was in high school. Well, it just goes to show this kid has talent, and that comes from this offense being able to throw the ball. They beat him twice with the pass down the field, and as I said, it opens up and it softens up that defense. So when they run the zone play like that, that was just simple outside zone. It really opens up in that offensive line, put a hat on the hat, displaced the defensive line, and he just picked a hole, and after that, he had the Jets and turned it on.
Yeah, he's been a buzzy name, not just in South Jersey, Barrett, but among Syracuse fans, because Dino Babers gave him a shout-out by name in a press conference during the spring, which is something he doesn't do very often. He doesn't like to single guys out. He did that with LeQuint Allen, and you see why. In that one-cut zone scheme, he's got a good guy to learn from in Sean Tucker.
Absolutely. One cut, put your foot in the ground, and go meet the rest of the team in the end zone when they come down to meet you.
It seems like that's one thing that's really going to stick around with the new play calling for Syracuse. They like their run game from last year, and for good reason. They're going to keep that for the most part this year, as Jacoby and Morgan is back out there for Syracuse running that second-team offense, and that first-team defense led by Mikel Jones making their presence felt.
Yeah, they're just giving the quarterback one read, and they're not allowing him to get back and when he gets back to his set to really be comfortable. They're bringing the house, and when they're bringing the house, they're making that comfortable quarterback get off his first read and then making him run. Defensive line really playing well, getting pressure up the middle.
Morgan has a completion to Javonte Williams. They call him Tank. He's been impressive this spring. Keep an eye out for number 86.
Yeah, he looks like he is a tank. He's got the body. He's ripped up. But he just run a little simple tunnel screen to the outside. Try to get your offensive line out there, and he hit the crease. It's just you have defensive linemen that retrace their footstep and able to come back and make a play.
It's third down again for Syracuse. I don't hear any keychains out here at the Carrier Dome. Usually they like to heat up the offense with some noise at the Loud House. This is the first-team defense for Syracuse. The pass from Morgan is incomplete. Deuce Chestnut on the coverage of Donovan Brown.
Yeah, a little physicality out there, a little hand-to-hand combat with the DB. Now you see him, they're out there talking a little bit, pushing around a little bit.
I think he was doing the whole freezing there for Sub-Zero.
He's freezing him out. He's freezing him out.
Chestnut Island. Don't go over there.
Whoa, Chestnut Island. Whoa.
Hey, man, when you put on the single digit, it comes with expectations. That's why Garrett Shrader was 16 last year. You have to earn your single digit. He's number 6 this season. But the fact that Chestnut is out there at 0, I mean, we like to joke about the nickname Sub-Zero, but that's a big deal wearing 0 as a sophomore.
Absolutely, as a sophomore. Now the second team offense out there. Lamson's having a pretty good game thus far. Let's see how his ability to throw the ball has opened up the run game.
This offense has scored 3 big touchdowns on the last 3 snaps. Here they take the short pass to Courtney Jackson. Solid game. We don't see Chris Elmore out here tonight, Jalen, but what you got on him?
Well, you don't see him out, but I'm standing right behind him on the sidelines, and he has on a headset. He's had it on since the beginning of the game. And when I talked to him yesterday, he said that he wants to lean more into this leadership role that he's taking because he is coming in to his 6th season, guys. So he said he wants to be more of a leader on and off of the field.
Well, Jalen, he's played pretty much every position. He did say he'd like to play quarterback eventually. You know, he wants to show that he can sling it.
Well, Coach Babers said that if he ever got put in a quarterback, there's no way on God's green earth that he's going to allow him to throw a ball. He's going to run the ball every single time. He's not throwing anything. He's running it. So
I don't think Rondo even wants to throw.
Right.
He wants to throw that weight around on an RPO maybe.
Yeah, but that, that's what they call these new days with these athletes, these COVID athletes. They call them super seniors. The guys have been in school for 6 years, but he's done it all, You name it, he's played it.
Hey, you see he played a little bit on the defensive line a couple years ago. Now he's in his comfortable position as a tight end / fullback. Swiss Army knife for this offense.
The more you can do, I tell guys all the time. It's not always,
look
the
out.
big run.
There goes Jawan Price. The price is right. A little tightrope down the sideline in the red zone.
There you go. When you have the ability to throw the ball, it opens up the offense, and these running backs are really good. And watch that offensive line. They just created an alley by keeping everything in the inside, getting up on the front side backers. When you're a backer, you can't pick wrong. Well, that time the backer picked wrong, went in the wrong hole, and they were able to shield it up, and he was run behind on the outside zone.
59-yard rip for Jawan Price.
That's 2 times they've had runs over 50 yards in this spring football game.
LeQuint Allen had the other one. Lamson gets heated up a little bit. And it's a sack for the second-team defense.
Yeah, I guess they say it's time to stop the bleeding.
That's Dennis Jaquez with the sack.
We got to go out and get heat this Lamson up. It's not all gravy out there. We can play too, so.
Well, Barrett, when we talked with Coach Babers yesterday, what you were mentioning about forcing the defenders to choose, that's such a big part of modern offense in the RPO, especially when you've got quarterbacks that can run like Syracuse does.
Absolutely. When you have a quarterback that's multi-dimensional, he can throw the ball just as good as he can run the ball. It makes defenses play assignment-correct football. They have to follow their reads, and any opportunity they can to make a defensive player have more than one read, it puts them in a compromised position because the defensive player, you just want to get up the field and create havoc. And when you have offenses, you have to make sure that you do what you're supposed to do within the framework of that defense. It gets you out of position, and that's why they're able to take advantage of it and go down the field.
3rd and long now for Lamson. He will keep it. He's got wheels. And he's inside the 5, and he's got a first down.
Lamson put his head down, tried to run the safety over.
Leon Lowry in there on the stop.
You try to run him over. I mean, that's not what you want, it's at the side, but hey.
Now, it actually is 4th down. Lamson was close. He gave full effort to try to pick that first down up. The offense is going to stay out there.
Coach Babers giving him a chance to go out there and complete the first down.
He's got LeQuint Allen to his left. True freshman out of New Jersey. Ripped off a big touchdown run earlier tonight. He gets the call on the toss. Allen is stood up. I don't think he got there.
Great defense. They got to their gaps, got great penetration, and the linebackers ran laterally and able to beat them to the sideline to stop the play.
It's a true freshman, Makai Mason, lucky number 13 in there on the stop.
Great scraping by him. He's thrown the play out and got to the corner.
This is a real football game here at the Carrier Dome. The first team offenses look great. The defense just came up with a stop, though. More football after this.
Welcome back to Syracuse. I'm here with Jonathan Danilich, who is the senior advisor for Ottos Army. And can you tell us a little bit, for people who don't know, what Ottos Army actually is?
Ottos Army is the student section here at Syracuse University. It is the largest college basketball student section in the country. And this year we broke all kinds of records. There's so many students here tonight too. It's really great to see. It's the most passionate group of students that you'll be able to find in the whole country.
And what records were those that you guys broke this year?
We broke both the football attendance record here on campus. We had 7,200 students at the Clemson game. And then we also broke the all-time college basketball student attendance record for the Duke game, 8,335. So really cool stuff.
Awesome. So for any students that want to get involved, how do they get more involved with Ottos Army?
Well, anytime that you come to a sporting event here at Syracuse, you're a part of Ottos Army if you're a student, any student who comes. But we do have an executive board who does amazing work. Everyone on the executive board has done a great job this year. And we need bright minds to, keep up this run that we're on. It's been a really great year, though.
All right. Well, you heard that Syracuse students come out and see Jonathan join Ottos Army. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
All right. Thanks, Jalen. And my dude, Jonathan, a great follow on Twitter. Go check him out. Don't let that calm disposition in the interview fool you. That guy gets after it at sporting events.
Great play by the defense. Filling holes. The offense is trying to spread them out a little bit. They stayed gap sound on that play. Linebackers are come around and fill on that play. This is the defense that I expected to see. Those starters out there with Jones, Wax, Thompson, they're showing why they're some of the ACC's best linebackers.
Juwan Price in there at running back now alongside Dan Villari, the Michigan transfer. It's his third year in college, but he's got 4 years of eligibility remaining. He's out of Plain Edge High School in Massapequa on Long Island. He lets it rip here. Oh, almost an amazing catch by Umari Hatcher, but a flag is down. It's going to go against Deuce Chestnut. Sub-Zero got a little too cold that time.
Yeah, a little too much hand fighting, had his hands in his chest. You got to understand, that this, you can't be this cheaping out here when you're on an island like that. Too much hand fighting. And watch the pressure up front. I mean, you're talking about, a quarterback's got to stay in the pocket. He gets hit. I mean, this is real football. This is a real football game. It's not like these guys are thudding and everything else. They are playing through the whistle on this field.
Welcome to Syracuse, Dan Villari. Yes. Hello.
He said he wanted to preach physicality. Well, you see it right here front and center.
Well, we've referenced it a couple times. Thud is what they call not totally live. It's two-hand touch, not a lot of contact. There's no thud tonight. The only thud on the field is hits on the quarterback like that. LeQuint Allen is back in there now. That time Villari again goes at Chestnut. He's got another completion, this time to C.J. Hayes, the Michigan State transfer.
Way to go back at him. He wanted to make sure Sub-Zero was playing off a little bit because he didn't want to be too chippy. Takes advantage of it, runs a slant play, able to complete the slant.
He's trying to defrost Deuce Chestnut right now. He's trying to take him out of the freezer, put him in the fridge, come back, thaw it out a little bit.
Chestnut has great feet. If you watch him, plays very well out in space. Oh, thud.
There's a Rondé Gadsden. Yeah, you got the worst of that. Another completion for Villari.
Eric Coley came up and made the hit. Stopped him right in his tracks. Squared up.
Again, he got hit. This time he went low. Villari's going to need an ice bath after this spring game.
Absolutely. You usually don't get this in spring games. Offensive line, guys up front got to start playing better. You're getting too much pressure on them. But you want this from you to see what your quarterback, see what he's made of. He's got 3 years left that he can play here. And he's got to take advantage of the opportunities they have. And this is exactly where you go out and show the coaches that you're here to stay and you're here to play.
As Marlo Wax on the stop of Juwan Price, the New Mexico State transfer. We've got another flag on the field. So don't let the fact that we're in April right now give you the wrong impression. Again, this is a real football game with penalties and everything. We got the Zebras out there too.
Coach Babers out there making sure everything is good, telling me, hey, we can't have this. We got to play disciplined football. Too many holding calls, too many pass interference calls. This is exactly why you don't finish games in the win column if you don't play disciplined football.
It's a team that struggled with penalties a lot last year, trying to play a clean spring game. That's a completion. Oh, look out. Devon Cooper almost got suplexed by Marlowe Wax, the linebacker.
That's great team. That's great teamwork. You know, you don't want to do that to your guy. Now, if that was Louisville,
yeah,
of course he'd have finished the play. But this, you know, this goes to show, you know, these guys have been battling all spring. You want to put them in that position.
If it's September 3rd against the Cardinals, Marlowe Wax.
Yeah, he could have whacked him on that play. Yes.
Yeah, right.
But these guys understand they got to take care of each other. They got to make it through the spring healthy and get ready for camp in the summer.
Villari's pass is incomplete. It brings up 4th down.
See, I understand, you know, with this defense, the starting defense out there, they have not been going over there and playing with Garrett Williams. Garrett Williams is one of the better corners on this team. They have 2 really good corners. So they're not going over and messing with him.
They got 2 All-ACC guys. Williams, an honorable mention All-ACC guy last year. Deuce Chestnut on the 3rd team. After this punt, it's going to be halftime. And Colby Barker is in there to kick it away, the senior out of Pittsford, New York, in the Rochester area. Donovan Brown lets it bounce, and that's going to do it for the first half here in this spring game. Dino Babers will be joining Jalen in just a moment.
I can tell, you know, coach should be very impressed by both sides of the ball, defense and offense. Both sides have played pretty consistent. And, you know, not a lot of penalties, but there's enough penalties and missed tackles that they could, you know, he's going to have something to talk about, but it's been pretty good.
Jalen's with the head coach right now.
Coach Babers, yesterday the word that we heard a lot from you was physicality. How are you seeing that translate over to today?
I think there's been some good hits out here so far. The thing that I really do appreciate is those guys are taking care of each other.
And you talked about how the defense is going to be the anchor of this team this year. What have you seen from them so far for the spring game?
They've been doing a nice job out there. I mean, the #1 defense has had us backed up a couple of times. We've had trouble moving the ball on them except for that one drive. The twos have had some balls thrown over their heads, but that's part of it.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jalen. It is halftime at the spring game. Dino Babers got to be happy with a lot of what he saw from the first team offense and defense. It's a new look attack for Syracuse. It's been dynamic so far, and that first team defense looking like the same unit that was the best in a decade for Syracuse last year. We got halftime content coming up. Welcome back to the Dome, where Syracuse is winning the spring game. And Chris Elmore is a guy who's played everywhere. He's played offensive line, fullback, tight end, even a little bit of defensive line. Now the 6-year senior is in a new role under the spotlight with Jalen.
Hey, Syracuse fans, Jalen Johnson here with the one and only Rhino. Y'all know him, y'all love him. He's been around for a long time. We're about to take a little walk. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. So, like I said, you're going into your 6th season.
Right.
And you've gotten here through some not so fortunate circumstances, some injuries, COVID year. How are you taking advantage of this opportunity that you have?
Taking advantage by just looking at it as a blessing in disguise. You know, not too many people have 6 years in college and have the experience on the football field that I have. So I just try to take it day by day, you know, enjoy it while I'm here and just try to take it all in, because it went by fast. But, you know, I'm just taking this last year step by step, enjoying just every little practice, every little thing about it.
Was there ever a question if you were going to come back for your 6th season?
Yeah, it definitely was a question, especially after I got hurt. Coaches were like, what are you going to do? Are you going to club it up? Then I found out that I could redshirt. I found out I could come back, so there was that up in the air. And just weighing the pros and cons of coming back. So the pros obviously outweighed the cons of me coming back, so that played a big role.
So now that you have this year, have you set a goal in your mind for yourself or goal in the mind for the team for this last ride with your brothers?
Definitely set a goal in mind for the team first and foremost. It's either being a bowl game or ACC championship, and I'm expecting nothing less. Like I said last year, I seen it in the team that we could win the national championship, but I feel like with how we've been practicing, we can really bring it out of guys to get there.
One of the guys that you really tried to bring it out of last year, and you succeeded because Sean Tucker is breaking records all over the place.
Yeah.
And last year you said you wanted him to rush for 1,000 yards and you wanted him to be in that award,
Yep.
in the award conversation.
Yep.
What is the challenge for him this year? You have any challenges for him?
Just breaking that record that he broke last year and finally getting that Heisman this year. I want him to get that Heisman just because I'm his lead blocker, and I know he can do it. Just seeing the work that Sean puts in, he can do it. He can definitely do it.
Talk about your relationship with Sean. When he came in, how did you take him under your wing, or how did you guys create that bond?
The bond kind of got created over time because Sean came in a quiet kid. He's still quiet here and there. The coaches think he's quiet. He's not quiet. Sean is anything but quiet.
He's fooling us.
Yeah, he's fooling y'all. Sean is anything but quiet. But, you know, you could tell, like, he's one of those guys that when he's comfortable around you, he opens up. And I'm one of the guys who he's opened up a lot more too. And, you know, we talked on the field and things like that, just talk out what we could have did better on the play, or how he wants to read my block. It's just things like that. You know, I feel like it's imperative for me to have a relationship with my running back.
What are you most happy about in the progress that you've seen this team take throughout the spring?
Just them accepting the information, us having new coaches and everybody welcoming them with open arms and accepting the information that they're giving us. It's a new system, it's new coaching staff, so that means relationships have to get rebuilt, and we just got to retrain our thought process different. And a lot of guys are buying in, and that's what I'm loving.
What can Syracuse fans expect from this team this season?
They can expect a way better progress, way better result than last year. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay.
I'll tell you that for sure.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to us, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, Jalen and Rhino, that's great stuff. And Chris, that's exactly what Syracuse fans want to hear. We got the second half and plenty more coming up right after this from the Dome. Welcome back to the Loud House. The second half is just around the corner. Syracuse, that first-team offense and defense, pretty impressive so far. I'm Drew Carter, back alongside Barrett Brooks. Glad to be on the field and have some turf under our feet for spring football. Barrett, this is a real game now. This ain't no joke.
Oh, they're hitting, you know, the trenches, the trench warfare. And I think Coach Baber, he understands that, you know, he had to have that physicality now because he couldn't do it when they got, you know, back to real football during the season. So you have to make sure that you get these guys that feeling that, all right, we got to hit somebody and get used to being hit. It hardens your body. It makes you think about, you know, all right, I can play through this later on in the season when you think you're hurt, but you're not.
Even the quarterbacks have gotten hit a little bit in this spring game. First half was fun. We saw some big plays. We saw some big hits. Expecting more of the same in the second half here as the Syracuse offense unveils a new look and the Syracuse defense looks for more of the same from last season.
Yeah, you look at the offense. I love the fact that they're taking it over the top. They're throwing balls and creating that chunk yardage with the receiving core and not just the running game.
Yeah, we've seen everyone getting involved. Justin Lamson with a couple of deep balls to a bunch of different receivers. A couple of running backs circling in here with Sean Tucker on the sideline. Second half is just moments away. All right, so we are ready for the kickoff of the second half. Andre Schmidt is out there again, the 2018 Lou Groza Award winner, back for year 5 in Central New York.
You know, I couldn't play 5 years. I was trying to get out of Kansas State, but I mean, these new super seniors, you know, because of COVID, have allowed them to come back, and it's really helping the teams that they're at because it gives their body to mature a little bit, gives an opportunity to really show what they can do. You know, besides, you know, not having that opportunity and going to the league early.
And this is a guy who could play in the league, Andre Schmidt. He celebrated senior night last year. He thought he was done at Syracuse, changed his mind a couple weeks later. And number 91 is back in orange.
He wants to have a big year. He needs to have a big year. He could be pivotal as far as this team having success. They lost a lot of close games last year, so he can be that guy to take them over the top if he continues to kick well and goes back to that old form that he had.
Well, one thing that could help is Bob Legaszewski, first-year special teams coordinator for Syracuse, coming over from Bowling Green. Last year for Bowling Green, Nate Needham led the country in field goal percentage at 95, playing in Northeast Ohio with the wind swirling off Lake Erie. That's not easy to do. Legashevsky's a guy with NFL experience. Won a Super Bowl with the Steelers, not the one you were on the team for, but a few years later when they won another one.
Yeah, in 08, but you got to have a guy that can go in there and be consistent. You don't have to worry about if you need a 30 or 40-yard kick. Just knowing you have that in your back pocket gives you the ability to call plays accordingly.
So Luke McPhail will run the show for Syracuse here to begin the second half. Mario Escobar is with him at running back.
This is pretty cool by the coaches. They're allowing their third team and the 14 guys to come out and show what they can do.
Wow, Escobar is swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage.
This is where the guys get the playing time that they want during the season. Watch right up the middle. Bust through the offensive line. You can't get a touch on him. Goes and makes a play. That play will stand out in the coach's mind when he wants to get more playing time with the first ones and twos. This is how you do it. Show that you can play against your counterparts of the twos and threes and see if you can go out there and make your own name out there.
Number 96 is Elijah Wright, the redshirt freshman from right here in Syracuse out of Solvay High School. John O'Connor was in there as well, the linebacker, number 48.
They're battling right now. I'm watching the offensive line. They're finishing plays, finishing blocks. You don't want your name called inside the meeting room that you didn't finish a play, especially when they're giving an opportunity right now to get your name called on national TV as a third and 14 guy. This usually doesn't happen. You usually don't get those type of rests. This Coach Baber giving these guys a solid and allowing them to go out there and show what they can do.
David Obeng Adjupong, the running back, in there, along with McPhail. Third down and long. Pass complete. It's Hatcher. He's having a big night. It'll bring up fourth down.
Great throw on the outside. Shows the arm. Just a little comeback. Get it, turn it up and run. You need more yak yardage on that yards after the catch. This will allow you to get more playing time and give you an opportunity to get some burn during those times when, you thought you didn't have a play, but you made a play during the spring game. They might think about you a little bit.
Punt unit is out there with James Williams, Courtney Jackson on the fair catch. Syracuse back to offense when we return. And speaking of Syracuse offense, you guys like Eric Dungy? Former Syracuse quarterback is joining us on the show next. We are back at the Carrier Dome as the spring game rolls on, and we are glad to be joined by a familiar face and familiar name for Syracuse fans. Y'all remember this dude, Eric Dungy? Four-year starter for the Orange, and last year you started. This team won 10 games. You're a fan favorite here in Central New York, man. Glad to have you back. What's it like to be in the Loud House?
Oh, it's great to be back. I love Orange Nation. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you've given me throughout my career. And anytime I can, I always love being back here. So I'm excited to watch this team this year and watch them get back to a bowl game.
You look at it, these guys are looking pretty good. You see the offense out there. They're opening it up a little bit. What do you see from this offense from this point?
I see a lot of versatility. I see guys making plays down the sideline. The deep ball's going. Obviously, the run game can get going. And honestly, the thing I love about this is the defense. I know they're young, but they got some great guys in the secondary. And, that was always my favorite thing is watching our defense play out there.
Yeah, no doubt. And Garrett Shrader, the current QB1, got a little Eric Dungy in him. I think that's what Coach Baber says. He puts his body out on the line. You see some similarities between you and him?
Yeah, I think he grows a little better of a beard, but other than that, yeah, he runs tough, and you always love that, plays with his heart, and that's what I told him. I said, we respect that and keep playing like that way.
A lot of these guys out here got a chance to take it to the next level from what I see out here, You're at that point right now, man. You're looking around. You're trying to get it going, man. How do you feel about this next step for you?
Yeah, I feel great. For me, it's always just been got to be ready for the next day. Got to be ready for, these guys. If one guy could go down, you got to be the next man up. Got to be ready. So
exactly.
It's how you always got to play. You train like you're number two, play like you're number one.
Eric, Syracuse fans watched you guys win 10 games. Ever since then, trying to get back to a bowl game. What would your message be to a Syracuse fan to keep the faith in this program?
You know, you just got to stay the course. You know, Orange faithful, that's why I love them, the ups and downs. But, you know, like Baber said, you got to trust the process and have faith. And, you know, that's true. So I think for this year, I think it's looking really good and looking real bright.
Eric, it's good to see you, man. Welcome back to Syracuse.
A lot of fans here, man. A lot of fans.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
So while we were talking with Eric, speaking of quarterbacks, a completed pass for Syracuse. We're moving back down the field. Barrett, that was a little trip down memory lane for me. I was a freshman when Eric Dungy was a freshman.
Okay.
First game I ever went to as a student, he came in. Terrell Hunt, the starter, unfortunately went down with an injury. Dungy replaces him against Rhode Island. Never gave the job up again. 4-year starter.
Hey, that's what it is. And this is exactly what you look at from these guys playing right now. Yes, these are the 3s and the 4s and some 2s. But this is where you learn how to be a starter. This is where you learn that, all right, I have an opportunity to get some playing time if I show the coaches I can play right now.
This looks like a live ball. McPhail got crushed by Nolton. It was picked up and taken inside the 10 by Mario Escobar. Heads up play by the redshirt freshman running back.
You got to keep moving. You got to keep going. If that whistle does not blow, the play is not over. And that's exactly what happened. Yes, looked like it was a pass instead of a fumble. But at the end of the day, hey, if you don't hear a whistle, you got to play it to the end. You got to keep going. It looked like his arm was going forward, but hey, this is spring ball, spring game. Why not let it play? This is a learning experience for these young guys.
The officials are letting them run here.
Yeah, they're not calling New York for this.
Obeng Apyajang caught it inside the 5, and Obeng Ajapong is down at around the 4-yard line. What a catch from the running back.
Great concentration. Quarterback leads him a little too far, but hey, he goes and gets it. Like I said, you got to finish the play. Never give up. I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. These coaches will remember plays like that, and if your number gets called, they probably won't have a problem if you show that you can play and finish plays.
We're down here on the field after Mario Escobar picked that ball up. He's back out there on the field, brought it inside the 10. Chris Elmore was the most excited guy on this sideline. McPhail on the keeper in the RPO, met by a swath of his own teammates at the 1-yard line. It brings up 3rd down.
Now you see that? His offensive line helping him up, like that's what you want to do. But hey, that just goes to show you got to be a tough quarterback to play in this system here. You have to finish plays. These quarterbacks are the size of fullbacks in all actuality.
Now, a lot of the guys playing on offense right now might not see a lot of action in the regular season, but the offensive line certainly could. We saw it last year with Syracuse, 8 different O-line combinations, 3rd most in FBS. They need depth on this unit.
You have to have depth.
Obeng Ajapong is back out there in the pistol. He gets the call. Trying to churn those legs. He comes up just a hair short of the goal line.
Keep your feet driving. Running back, watch it. Once he gets the handoff, he doesn't stop, keeps his feet driving. That could have been a loss of 3 yards, but he kept his feet driving to finish the play. You got to finish plays, and that's what these running backs are doing. Running backs and quarterbacks are doing. They're finishing the play.
They're going to leave the offense out there on 4th down. McPhail is back.
This is what your offensive line has to step up. And if you're a defensive guy, your defensive line will step up. Who's going to reestablish the line of scrimmage? Whoever gets penetration, whether it's driving off the ball or stopping the run play, this is where you learn how to run the rock.
It is Escobar. He's dragged down, but not before he crosses the goal line. Touchdown, Mario Escobar.
Finish the play. Offensive line creates a corner, stops the penetration on the outside. They got a little penetration in the interior, but look at that tight end block on the outside.
Ooh, how about the stretch? from Escobar.
Great blocking on the outside, on the corner, by the tight end.
I don't know if we're going to do a replay review here for the spring game, but that was close, but they'll give him 6.
Like I said, they're not going to replay and call it New York.
So it's now 21.
Max Mang.
7. Eric Dungy, he's back at the Loud House signing autographs, a fan favorite.
Welcome back. I'm here with Matthew Bergeron. Matthew, you're coming into this spring. What was one thing that you really wanted to focus on for spring ball this year?
I really want to focus on my pass protection.
Why was that the area of focus?
Because I feel that was the area where I struggled last year, so I want to improve that for next season.
As a leader on this team, what do you think it was your role to help merge this new coaching staff and the young guys?
The new coaching staff, they're trying to bring a new culture, and my role in all that is just making sure the guys buying in.
Who do you think has shown the most growth for you over the spring season?
I think that Isaiah Jones have made huge strides since the start of camp, so I'm really proud of him.
And what do you think is your biggest area of growth that you made over the spring?
I think my hands got better, and I'm excited to show the world what I can do next season.
And I've heard that your English has gotten a lot better as you've been here. But I also am going to have you speak a little bit of French right now. So I want you to give a message to the Syracuse fans why they should be excited for this season.
Salut à tous les fans de football au Québec. On vous attend prochaine saison.
All right, so what did you just say?
I said, shout out to all the Quebec fans. We're waiting for y'all next season.
Perfect. And I know one more thing. I know that your mom's here, and your family didn't really get a chance to come see you play last year because of COVID. I think they were here for you at the Pitt game. So what does it mean to have her here today and then hopefully for the season next year?
Even though I'm not playing, I'm just grateful to have them here with me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jalen. Matthew Bergeron. He's got that certain je ne sais quoi, you know?
Yes, that je ne sais quoi.
Bergeron, one of the guys being held out tonight because Dino Babers says he's just too valuable. Not only bilingual, he's bi-tri-positional. This guy can play everywhere on the offensive line.
You know, and he has that technique. He said his hands got better. He sped his hands up. He already has great feet. He's one of those guys who can take it to that next level because his pass sets and the way he dominated last year, he opened up a lot of scouts' eyes at the NFL level.
You're a big fan of his tape.
Yeah,
You'd draft him if you were running the team.
I was watching him, you know, breaking down plays all last year of, you know, quality tackles in the league. You know, I broke down the Mississippi State, Alabama offensive line, you know, but he's one of the guys that I did focus on here with Syracuse offensive line.
Luke McPhail is back out there at quarterback, and he is picked off. That's Braylon Oliver who comes up with the interception on the first play of the drive.
Look at it. Got to go make it happen. Huge play on the defensive side of the ball. As a coach, you don't mind putting guys out there that's going to take a chance and then make the play.
Oliver, the redshirt freshman out of Anderson, South Carolina. He was originally enrolled at Louisville. That's who they're playing in the season opener in September.
Watch on this play as he backs up into his back center. He turns around, undercuts the ball, and is able to make the play. Showing his speed and athleticism.
There's a defense with a lot of playmakers, a lot of guys who can make things happen. Braylon Oliver throwing his hat into the ring there.
Coach White understands that he needs depth everywhere. That's why he's giving these 3s and 4s an opportunity to show what they can have. This is how you move up the depth chart. You go out and make plays like that. You look at the offensive line that's out there. You know, you got Magnuson, Fromey, Petrie. All these guys want to take it to the next level, and they might get used next year. We saw all the offensive lineups they had on the offensive line.
McPhail's back out there. Let's go over to Jalen for more on that depth.
Yeah, guys, I got to talk to Josh Black over here on the sideline a little bit at halftime. And when I asked him for his evaluation, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, I just can't believe how deep we look right now. He said, these young guys are really making plays. And he said, I can't lie, they got me excited for next season. So we'll see if they can keep pleasing him today.
That just comes with guys going out and taking advantage of opportunities. You know, you can only control the intangibles. You can take care of how good a shape you are, how well you know that playbook. You can't control how much time you get to play unless you go out there and be dominant and physical, showing that you can play at this next level. And, you know, it gives you an opportunity for coaches to open up their eyes and let you play.
Look out, there goes Donovan Brown. What can Brown do for you? Take you inside the 20-yard line.
Trying to make big plays.
You keep his knee up here?
He runs a little curl route, comes in, stops. His knee's on the ground, but hey, this is a spring football game. You know, it's like, hey, look, Mom, I can play. If he was in the NFL, he could do that. He didn't get touched.
That's right, NFL rules in this spring game.
Yeah.
Barrett, what do you think of the offensive scheme we've seen tonight?
I think that this is really going to help them because it opened up a lot in their offense. When you can throw the ball like that and catch defenses peeking, it gives you the autonomy now to get that 8th defender out the box. They got a lot of 8-man fronts because they ran the ball so consistently. With this type of offense, you can't leave that 8th defender in the box because you got to have some guys who can cover. You don't want the big play to happen on the outside, so you have to take somebody out to cut for coverage. That's what opens up the run game.
And Barrett, we call it an RPO. Really, for this team, it should be an RRPO because the quarterback is such a threat. Garrett Shrader last year, almost 800 rushing yards. You're going to have to pick your poison defensively to stop these guys.
Absolutely. You got the run with the running back, the read with the running back, then you got the read with the quarterback, and then they have the autonomy to throw the ball. It puts you in an awkward position as a defender, especially a linebacker, because if you look in the backfield and peek, that tight end or that running back can outflank you. But if you don't get inside the box, they can run the ball on you. So it's really pick your poison.
McPhail to air it out again. Toward the end zone. Hatcher is there.
Red zone reps.
Incomplete.
Taking a shot down the field. You got to slow it down as a receiver. Know where you are on the field. He should have slowed his body down a little bit. Don Foster pushed him out of bounds. Both being aware, need to be aware of where they are. The defensive back knowing he needs to push the guy out of bounds, but the receiver needs to slow down a little bit, have some body control, and come in with the reception inside bounds.
We've seen Hatcher tonight. We've seen a lot of wide receivers getting involved. Jalen's got more on that.
Yeah, you guys were talking about all the different options that they're going to have. And when we asked Coach Babers, he said that that was the position group that he said could surprise him the most. He said he didn't really have a guy that he was going to tell us who to look out for. He said he wants those guys to come out and make him say, wow, and surprise him.
There's another wideout getting involved. It's Donovan Brown again. The coverage is firm, and it's from Dom Foster again for the second play in a row.
You look at it, you know, he's stepping up. He's showing I can cover. You can't play with me. I'm a defensive back on the outside. I'm going to make the play. Get that ball out of there. Like I said before, as we've been sitting here, these coaches remember plays like that. And they might move up the depth chart a little bit because they've had an opportunity to show what they could do. And you get more reps by doing that.
Got a field goal in a spring game here. It's Ian Hawkins out to kick it. Redshirt freshman out of San Diego. Hooked it a little bit wide left. And almost broke one of our ACC network cameras while he was at it. So the score remains the same. We're going to take a short break. We talked with one legendary Syracuse quarterback already. We've got Don McPherson coming up after the break. We are back at the Carrier Dome. We talked with one legendary Syracuse quarterback already, Eric Dungy. Let's bring in the guy who laid the foundation for a lot of the guys who came after him. It is Don McPherson, legendary Syracuse quarterback from the 80s, part of the undefeated team in 1987. Don, we got to start here. For the longest time, I thought it was McPherson. You introduced yourself to me as McPherson, so could you just clear it up for us, please?
Coach Mack was the Mac, I'm the Mick, but neither of us had fear in the name. So McPherson.
That's incredible, you know. But I'm going to tell you this. It seems as though Syracuse gets it. In order to stand to go into the future, you also have to acknowledge the past. And they're good about bringing you guys back around and talking to this team and getting you involved with the organization.
You know, it's good to be back and see guys like Eric and James and the guys like Dan Connolly and Robert Drummond, one of my old teammates, is here. Guys who live here, they're still local, live here in Syracuse, they love the university, they love the community, and that's what we, like to your point about building for the future, we have to look to the past.
Yep. Now the Carrier Dome looks a little bit different from how it used to. What do you think of the renovations to this place?
It's incredible. It's one of the greatest facilities in all of college sports. Pete Sal has done a great job, and all the people here. So many people here work here, were here when I was here. And they've been a part of the great renovation of this building, and it really is. You talk about building for the future. This is the future of this building.
Absolutely, you know. But you look at these new quarterbacks for the team and the old quarterbacks for the team. I mean, you got some big physical guys. You know, they don't mind running the ball. They're getting hit out there. When have you seen quarterbacks get hit in spring game? Usually, you guys wear red shirts, you know, but they don't have red shirts. They're getting hit. So, what do you think about the physicality of this game and what direction they're going?
I think it's really important. I think one of the things that in these types of offenses that quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands quickly. And so they need to get hit to understand what that means.
Right.
If you don't get the ball out of your hand, you're going to get hit. It's going to mean a loss. It's going to mean a sack. So make your reads, get the ball out of your hands quick.
Absolutely.
How different is this from when you played in the spring game? Because you were telling me earlier about how you had shades and a headband on, chilling on the bench.
You know, we had more fun in the spring game. It wasn't like this. It wasn't a show. We didn't have TV. I don't even think we had officials.
Right.
We had Coach Mack with the whistle, and so it's a much different production now. And all of college sports is so much different than it was when I played.
Well, that's just the nature of what direction college football is going. But I see the promise in this team. I see the direction that they're going. They're going to be more physical. They're going to open this offense up. They're playing sound defense. There could possibly be one of the teams that's competing in the ACC next year, right?
We definitely need them to do that. And I think one of the things I have seen this evening is that people are flying to the football. The defenses are playing fast. They're getting to the football. That's what you want to see, especially in the spring game where everyone's trying to, new coaches, new guys coming in with the transfer portal. You want to see guys hustling to the football, and there's a lot of that going on tonight.
Don McPherson, it's great to see you, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The legendary quarterback, Don McPherson, spending some time with us here at the Carrier Dome. Always good to talk with him. You know, the young bloods don't know about the 80s. They don't know about 1987, the undefeated Syracuse team back in the glory days of this program.
Yes, the glory days. I can remember watching when I was still in high school then. You know, so, I mean, I'm not going to date myself, but that was actually my sophomore year in high school, yeah.
Now, there are some great names that have come through this program. Not just Don McPherson, of course, but the legendary nature of running backs in this program, the number 44s, all the way back to Ernie Davis, first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy, Jim Brown before him, Floyd Little, all the great running backs who have come through, and Sean Tucker is carrying on that mantle now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you on a team, a running back like that, I mean, this kid, I think he might have earned 44 if they still had the jersey and it wasn't retired, but hey, you know, Tucker's definitely going to be a guy that you're going to have to take notice, not just here in Syracuse, but around the nation as being one of the quality running backs in the college football.
Well, that's a big topic of discussion around Tucker, you know, setting the record for Syracuse single-digit rushing yards. We got to talk about the aerial attack again as McPhail hooks up with C.J. Hayes, the transfer from Michigan State, 38-yard touchdown.
Look at this. Is this a team that ran the ball so consistently last year and they're airing it out? This is exactly what Coach Babers was trying to do. Open it up. It was nothing but a little route on the outside, a little 9 route. He just ran and went and got it. That just goes to show that, hey, at the end of the day, when you play against an offense like that runs the ball that consistently, you can now go over the top and catch passes because they're going to be looking for the run, and then you beat them over the top with a pass.
Dom Foster, number 22 in orange, did his best to try to knock it loose there in the end zone, but it goes down as 6 for the blue team.
Great play.
It's a pretty deep ball, too, from Luke McPhail.
Yes.
5th quarterback we've seen in the spring game. We've got another star for the Cuse joining us after this.
Welcome back. I'm with Mikel Jones. Thank you for joining me. Now, the first question I have to ask, I know you probably answered it 85 times. What was the reason you decided to come back and suit up for the Orange for another season?
So the biggest thing was just thinking about all the aspects of me going and compared to me staying, and it seemed like coming back and playing with these guys again, it was the best option, especially helping the younger guys develop since this is a young team, and I was the oldest since my sophomore year. It was definitely also being back with Marlo and Steph. It was something I was thinking about coming back, and I feel like it's the best decision for me, honestly.
So I want the inside scoop, okay? Who of these young guys on this defense should we be looking out for?
Man, it's a lot of young talent that just came in January, but definitely Braylon Oliver, safety. He's an athlete. You see him, he just had a pick right there. He's nice. Definitely Deuce. Deuce is a young guy. He seems like a vet, but he's a young guy you got to watch, definitely. And Makai Mason, Francois Nolton, those guys are coming in. They're trying their best, and they're locking in, for sure.
All right, well, you heard it here first, Syracuse fans. Be on the lookout. Thank you so much, Mikal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jalen. Mikal Jones, the first-team All-ACC linebacker last year. 110 tackles for this guy, second in the league last season.
Yeah, like I said, he runs from sideline to sideline. But those guys up front got to keep him clean. If they can keep him clean, eat up blockers, he'll be an ACC pick. He might be an All-American, All-American next year. He has all the qualities you need to be a very good linebacker in the league. He runs, he's aggressive, understands where he needs to be, finishes plays. That's all you need, you know, from a guy that's going to be a leader on this team.
That's one of the best linebacking cores, not only in the ACC, but in the country, too, with him, Wax, and Thompson.
I've been watching and breaking down film for the past couple of days, well, that past couple of weeks, and that's exactly what jumps out on the film. Their ability to not just sit back in coverage, but also the blitz gaps, run picks with the defensive line. They understand how to rush the passer also.
Here's Jacoby and Morgan back out to run the show for Syracuse. This is the last drive we'll see tonight in the orange and blue game. 7 games at the Dome this year. There's some marquee ones, including that Notre Dame game. I know some fans are buying season tickets just to see that Notre Dame game. Some Irish fans. Also got Purdue at home. It's a great non-conference home schedule for Syracuse, and it's always tough in the ACC.
ACC, you got to come to play. You know, Coach Baber said you have to play physical in this conference. And that's the only way you could win if these guys continue to play physical. I think they've accomplished that. I think they came out and really showed that this team is not the same team from last year. The physicality they're bringing to the place right now is definitely going to show when they come and open the schedule in the ACC.
There goes Morgan. And Barrett, you can feel the energy and the excitement. I mean, again, the defense, you know what you're getting. Really successful last year. The offense might be totally different. And Garrett Shrader, talking with him before we came on the air, I mean, he's confident.
Oh, very confident. He said, just wait till next year. He couldn't stop saying that, hey, they're a much better team going into this year instead of last year. And you know what? You could also see a quiet confidence in their head coach. Coach Babers understands what he has, and when he brought over Coach Lene as an offensive coordinator, he sees the winning combination of run-to-pass ratio that could really help them in this conference.
So as we wrap up the last drive here in the orange and blue game, Barrett, what's your biggest takeaway tonight?
Offensively, they're going to be a more imposing offense, and they're going to give that defense a little bit more and bring more to the table, which will allow them then to have complete games instead of one-sided games.
There's Donovan Brown, one of many names in that wide receiver core we've mentioned.
Those guys have gotten a lot better also. You know, the receiving cores, they're weapons right now. You know, Coach said he wanted to find somebody to be surprising in this game. I think he got a couple surprises this game. Running the ball consistently, throwing the ball consistently, defense running around. There's a few things they have to clean up a little bit. They have to clean up tackling. That's something, you know, I think they need to work on a little more is their tackling. But overall, there's a lot of good things that they displayed today. In a very vanilla offense and defense.
That's a great point. Couple of long touchdowns, couple through the air, one on the ground. Here's Morgan, wants it all again. He was trying to find Donovan Brown, 87.
Masters stopped step for step with him. Great coverage on the outside, stayed in sync with him.
That's Clay Masters, redshirt freshman out of West Lynn, Oregon. Oregon native, just like Eric Dungy.
Yeah, I mean, you going all the way from Oregon, that's a major recruiting going on there.
That's when you really like the color orange, if you're coming coast to coast to play at Syracuse.
Right.
It's an exciting time for this program. It was a real windfall getting those guys to come from UVA, because under normal circumstances, Anai and Beck aren't going anywhere because they had so much success last season. Their guy Bronco Mendenhall steps aside, and it's a gain for Syracuse. Dino Babers said pretty easy decision to try to get those guys to come here.
Absolutely.
Another trickeration play dialed up by the Cuse. Brown has it inside the red zone. Jacoby Morgan got it back, and he delivered. And
Great
that's the
play.
last play. Talk about finishing with a bang. It's a 55-yard hookup with Morgan and Brown, and that is a good taste to leave in the fans' mouths.
Absolutely. Exciting game. It's definitely an exciting fan base.
For Dino Babers and company, an exciting night in Syracuse. April 1st is no joke for this Orange offense and this first-team defense, which looked outstanding. Chris Elmore and company, there are a lot of returners, a lot of new faces, and Dino Babers excited for what's in store for the 2022 season.